So I just watched Didi, and I think it's one of those movies that brings up a lot of emotions that you kind of haven't felt in a long time, because in order to kind of move on some things, you kind of have to forget. And and personally, I think that's done a really good job for me. I'm really good at kind of just forgetting about things, and then part of the reason I'm so happy now is because I just forget about some experiences, and then I'm able to kind of move on with my life. I'm able to be more productive and live in a more just like okay manner without kind of letting your past be a source of baggage. You can just focus on the present, the things that are concerning you right now, the things that you can control. And as a result, that kind of makes you, more high functioning in society. But I think this movie brought a lot of it out because, you really forget what it's like being in middle school. And I think there are a lot of attributes specifically when you are a guy that is very universal in kind of your middle school experience, where you're just so awkward, you want to fit in, you know what you want, but you're kind of too afraid to pursue what you want. When rejection hurt a lot more back then than it does now. And I think there are certain images in the movie that were so powerful to me. I think one of them is when he ran away and just stayed in a playground overnight. And I was just remembering oh yeah, I used to do that too. I used to also run away and camp out in the playground for a night. And I remember it's always really, it was very it was cold sometimes at night when you're trying to fall asleep, but otherwise it was fairly warm. I always ran away during the summer for some reason. And just that feeling of kind of overwhelmingness where you kind of want to be away from it all. It's a very powerful image in my head. And yeah, I kind of just knew it was a coming to age story when I watched it, but I feel there isn't very much quote unquote coming to age, nothing concrete happens that transitions him from being a young adult to an adult or whatever. It's more or less just a story about transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade, and it was a very specific boy story. And even though it's relatable, it's not anyone else's story, and I think something that's really interesting in the movie is that his life becomes worse and worse over time. It starts out okay, and then some things happen, and then because of his desire to fit in, he has some experiences, and then he doesn't have others, and it's kind of insane how much we used to desire to fit in. You know, like, I consider myself so non-consensus now, but it's crazy to think about the fact that at one point I did want to fit in, you know, like, it seems so long ago, and it's not really my personality anymore, but it's like, it was my personality at some point, and a lot of people go through something similar where they just desire to fit in. And it's really insane to think about the fact that we all were like that at one point, and we all relinquished that side of our personality now. Like, part of the transition between that and now is just like high school and college, and allegedly you have a lot of your formative experiences in high school and college, and as a result, with each transition you kind of shed a part of you behind. You know, that's like what we do. We give up parts of ourselves over time until nothing about us is what it was before. You know, like, we gave a lot of ourselves up in high school, and then we gave a lot of ourselves up in college, and we still had more of our middle school self in us in high school than we did in college, and we still had more of it in college than we did after college, and we're just like giving it up slowly and slowly until we're not that person anymore. We're not the person that wants to fit in anymore. I think the insane part about the experience that the main character in this movie goes through is that it's better for us if we just forget it. Like, you want to move on in your life. Yeah. Obviously, when people create art like this, it kind of forces them to revisit it. And I don't really see like why people want to revisit it. You know, it seems like important, but I'm not sure it's really healthy. And there isn't like an optimistic note at the end. It's just like some things happened. Most of it wasn't that significant, and now they are where they are now. And I feel like my life ended up pretty good, but I feel like it could have easily just not ended well, and I think about that a lot. It gives me a lot of gratitude for where I am currently, and it pushes me to not going back into like old patterns, to make sure that I continue on this momentum I've been given.